Transition Awareness Breathing. Feeling grounded for both children and parents is essential for healthy living and learning. Join Eartha Powell on this series for tips and tools for creating a harmonious environment for learning. Transition Awareness Breathing will help you and your child find an individualized path to tackle change, promote lifelong learning, and discover new approaches to calmness.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to Transition Awareness Breathing Podcast. This is Eartha, and may I remind you that we are on a journey to find out how to improve the United States happiness score. This is the third podcast in our episode, and just to briefly refresh our memory, that Finland has been ranked number 1 as the happiest country, and the United States has been ranked as number 16. And this study was done according to the 10th annual World Happiness Report published by the United Nations Sustainable Development Solutions Network. Apparently, a World Happiness Report is conducted every year, and United States increased its score by 3 points. So the previous report was the United States was ranked 19, and on this 10th annual report, United States ranked 16. So, what are we doing right? How can we at least get into the top 10? So, I wanted to spend some time in Transition Awareness Breathing Podcast uncovering and exploring some ways and suggestions that may be in our own little part of the world, wherever you may be, that maybe we can learn from this report and improve our happiness score. But before I go any farther, I'd like to thank Web Talk Radio for allowing me to have a platform to bring Transition Awareness Breathing podcasts to you. And to my producers, Mary Lou and Sam, thank you so much for making Transition Awareness Breathing podcast available to my listeners wherever they go. Okay, so let's continue to do some digging around, so to speak. So this happiness score is not, as I'm just reviewing, is not per se measuring the jovial and happy laughter. How much a person can evaluate how happy they are, according to, happy or jovial or things like that. What they're basing the report on is the quality of life. And according to the World Health Organization, they look at, as far as quality of life, as a person's perception and their position in life, and their culture, their value system, their goals and expectations, and certain standards as far as their measurement of employment and their environment, their physical and mental health, education, recreation, and leisure. And also included in that is a sense of social being, religious beliefs, safety, security, and freedom. And so, as I pointed out in my previous podcast, it really seems to measure, in my humble opinion, the quality of life, and using like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and the satisfaction of the results when lower needs are satisfied. with that being said, I would like to suggest before you pack your bags and get all your passports ready to head to Finland, let's see a little bit more about what Finland is dealing with as far as living in a happy environment, a paradise, a utopia, right? So there were some key words that kind of caught my attention when I looked at some media and read and continued to read some of the reports. And one of the things that really was a highlight for me that caught my attention was their initiatives to help their community improve with caring for mental health clients. So this is to kind of summarize, and again, I'll put my resources below in the descriptions. So a lot of people were surveyed in Finland, and they, according to one of the studies that I read, and a lot of the population agree, especially the younger people, shared that there was a lot of pressure they felt in living in a country that you're supposed to be happy. And so the pressure, the stress that they were talking about is the mental health issues, depression, suicide rates, anxiety. And they felt, this came out a lot, they felt maybe embarrassed or ashamed to share if they felt any symptoms of depression or had any ideas about suicide, because they know that in their country that there's a lot of structure that supports positivity. There's there's open spaces and nature, and the education system supports a lot of positive self-esteem building, and yet these young adults and some teens mentioned that it just seems that mental health is seen as a weakness. If you mention that you're feeling something which makes you anxious, or one has a feeling to threaten their life, they just feel that their information will not be very well received. There's, why are you feeling this way? You have everything kind of point of view. And so what is wonderful is that, and what is very much appreciated, is that even though this country, Finland, is aware they have a high happiness score, they are also aware that this high happiness score has uncovered that they have work to do in changing the perception of how to deal with mental health. So apparently there has been a reduction in the suicide rates in Finland. However, at the same time, Finland remains well above the European average of deaths among 15-year-olds to 24-year-olds caused by suicide. And so their initiative to this, the response to this, was a national suicide prevention campaign. And even though this campaign has been on for a while, there's still some work to be done, because indicators continue to show that there is a negative stigma associated with mental health. And so before I go any farther, I really would like to interject right here. If you are feeling that you need help with any kind of mental health issue, whether it's anxiety, depression, maybe you want to talk to someone, and certainly if you have ideas or thoughts about hurting yourself, I encourage you, I implore you to please talk to someone and know that there is help for you, no matter where you are at. Don't think that this is all where you're at is just the end. Please get help now. And also I would like to mention is that in the link, and even if you go to my webpage, if you have difficulties or you don't know where to start, I have included a link where it will help you get started in finding help for yourself. Okay? And I'll put more information in the description, but I just wanted to put that out. And so let me get back to the report. One thing that came out is Finland, because it's a period of time of the year, there is prolonged lack of sunshine and cold weather. It may be that the research pointed out contributes to some of the depression because of seasonal affective disorder. And certainly if you've ever lived in a cold weather part of the United States, I know I have. I lived in Chicago for a period of time. And I compliment Illinois for really addressing seasonal affective disorder. They put out information, educational information, have all kind of activities for the community. And so this is a real phenomena. And so if you know anyone or you hear anyone talking about situations where they feel depressed or sad, listen to them. And I encourage you to take what they're saying seriously, and it's just not a joke. Because oftentimes, not just in Finland, but oftentimes people don't know how to start to talk about how to get help. And so it may come across kind of nonchalant or as a joke. But please take what they say seriously and get help immediately. So I pulled up some information, and I wanted to compare, well, how does the United States rank in our view of mental health? So I pulled up some numbers from a study that was done in 2019, and this is according to the American Psychological Association. And what they pointed out in their study was a total of 87% of American adults agreed that having a mental health disorder is nothing to be ashamed of. In addition, it was pointed out that 86% of American adults believe that people with mental health disorders can get better. And that is such a positive view, and it's such a wonderful perspective and a wonderful report card for our country. But I also know that there has been a lot of work that has been done to improve our perception of mental health. And as a nursing professional, I was also in on that in my workspace as a nurse, as a manager, to make sure that people were aware that there is help from them and all the supporting factors around that. So it's also good to see that Finland is now addressing the importance of taking away the stigma of mental health. And so even though they have the highest score of the happiness score, they are not satisfied with the population's response to mental health, because that is a barrier for some people and they won't get help. So I just wanted to bring out a couple of more highlights as far as the mental health issue as to why would they have any mental health issues in Finland? What is triggering the depression? Well, according to the report from 2018, unemployment rates are low compared to nationwide studies. However, there's a sense of instability that's going on right now, particularly in the age group between 15-year-olds and 19-year-olds. Their rate of unemployment was 12.5%, and the average unemployment rate for Europe is 11.5%. It's thought that the uncertainty in finding a job is contributing to mental health issues. Although Finland is financially stable, inequality is rising. In addition to that, it's showing, this report is showing that globalization of our digital economy is playing a role in the increase in mental health. In addition, Finland has also seen a rise in alcohol and substance abuse among the age groups of 25 to 34-year-olds. And so, it's a matter of perspective. A society who has been identified by the World Health Organization as the happiest country in the world, and yet within their society, within the Finland society, they're recognizing that there's some gaps that need to be closed. Life-changing events can shake up a person's world, our world. And so sometimes during that shake-up, it's healthy to get specialists who are in that field to bring information and educate ourselves to get through maybe that life-changing event. And so with that type of focus, I think that United States has done a brilliant job of reversing any negative stigma. And we still have work to do in making sure that, if someone, as far as a workspace, a educational environment, home environment, if someone needs help, do not delay. It's, if you break your leg, you go to the emergency room and you get help. If someone has a heart attack, you go to the emergency room and you get help. And so, if you need some support, there are specialists that can help. And we should not segregate that type of help and stigmatize that type of help, because our mind and our brain is all part of our body. I like to think of the brain and the mind as our central processing unit, and sometimes we need tuned up. And it helps to get outside information and not just stay in our own little whirlpool. Sometimes we need a little help. And I think that is so great, and that's how mindfulness helps. It brings in skills and techniques to help us identify ourselves and how we are reacting to life-changing events. And life does happen, and many tragedies are going on around the world. How do we deal with that? How can we, there's a lot of conversations in any kind of social media, but how can we make a positive change in our side of the world, in our home, in ourselves? And we're going to continue our discussion. I wanted to spend some time, a little bit today, to share some of the gaps that Finland is dealing with, so that we can have a realistic point of view. As I said before, before you pack up your bags, it's good to know and good to see that this is a country that's also working on improving areas of mental health. And so I look forward to you next time, and I will share, as I shared today, there were some trigger words that came out, and I just had to stay on track, and it was a little bit hard for me because I wanted to go down a couple of streets, and I think that would have took us off topic. So this was a little bit challenging for me because I had to stay really, really focused. But I think come back next time, and I want to share some really interesting, and it may be a little bit provocative, might be going against a little bit of grain of sand, as this report from Finland really identifies a little bit more in detail a large gap that may be causing a problem. And so I was taking a long time to get this information together and trying to figure out, oh, wow, this is so much. And so I just wanted to share this part with you, and I look forward to sharing more with you again next time. Have a great day, and let calmness be your strength.
Be sure and pick up a copy of Eartha's new book, Tab Mindfulness, Awareness and Coloring Activities in a Pandemic World. It's not just an ordinary coloring book. It features 23 illustrations to stimulate thought, relaxation, and creativity for anyone between the ages of 4 and 94. Increase your positive self-talk energy. Unlock new creative paths. Transform your time once or twice a week to create beautiful art while strengthening confidence, building positive self-talk, and sensitize self-awareness. Tab Mindfulness, Awareness and Coloring Activities in a Pandemic World. It's available now at Amazon.com.